I think they did a nice job on that, Benny. What do you think?
Man, that's extraordinary, man. That thing is so awesome, man. I'd be wanting to sit back and get some popcorn each time I see that, man.
I already finished my bag watching the whole thing, man. So I'm already.
Wow.
I know,
I eat,
right?
I
So
eat slow.
I wasn't going to do this, and because I was going to make this completely 100% exclusive to the channel, but I think everybody should see what it's about and get kind of an introduction on what we're doing and where this is going. And that's kind of why I decided to do this in a public forum and let folks kind of see what we're doing and what we're about. So what do you think, Benny? Talk to us a little bit on your perspective on where this show is going to be leading us.
Well, one good thing is, man, I know it's definitely positive. Or a lot of people and a lot of those people out there that are practicing, a lot of these different type of esoteric or new wave type of treatments and things. It'll be a definite awakening. Some of those people, that are illusionists, it'll be awakenings for them too. Because I feel something like when Harry Houdini went on that awakening around the world to show people the difference between magic and illusion. And so many people think they're just threading together magical things, and and not responsible for what they do to other people's minds and the influence that it has on the younger people out there that's trying to really learn.
Well, in 6 days, on Monday, we're going to be releasing and broadcasting the first episode of this particular show. And it's going to be the true reality of an awakening. And we're
Yes,
going to go
sir.
over exactly what that really means. I mean, we hear this a lot in the community. A lot of folks tell you, well, I had an awakening, or I had this. And we're going to talk about what an awakening really truly is, because I'm not quite sure that there's many folks that fully understand what they're saying when they say that. So we're going to go over that, and that's going to be kind of the first episode, and going over some of the things they say, and the things that they're portraying, and kind of clear the air a little bit on that, and show them and describe what this really means in a full spectrum of an awakening. To kind of give a quick synopsis of it in just a couple of words. What is it? It's the disappearance of an illusion. You're getting a full spectrum view of everything going on, and that's exactly what the Truth of Lies is about: giving the full spectrum of things, not just one point of view, but to give a 360 view of the entire topic. What are all the possibilities? What are the things that could cause this? What are the things that can cause that? And that's kind of where we're going with this particular show. And we're going to pick topics. I mean, one topic could be about paranormal investigating. Discussing the teams. The differences between ghost hunters, paranormal investigators, and so on. We'll talk about mysticism. We'll talk about a lot of those claims, and kind of break that down and get somewhat of a better idea on where we're standing with all of this. So, what do you think, Benny?
And I think that's an excellent idea, bro. Because I tell you, with my experience and everything, and all the Facebook groups and the chats and stuff that I'm a part of, I've had people ask me so many times, "Are you awoke?" And I'm like, "Well, I woke up this morning, and I believe I'm awake." And then they want to throw the theories and hypotheses at me and tell me that I'm partially awake and different things like that. So I had to be like, what am I getting all this knowledge and everything for if I'm still asleep? But maybe it's not me. Maybe it's them. So I don't
Right.
know.
You know,
Just to say, I think it's so many. So I'm sorry. Go ahead. You know,
it's you have to kind of use your own mind. You got to use critical thinking. Use your own common sense. I mean, we have
yeah.
it. We can use it. I mean, I've had some silly questions. I mean, I've been asked, well, what alien race do you identify with? Or, can we agree that somebody, knows more about magic than you do? It's like, okay, well, look, I'm kind of a believer, but I'm a skeptical believer. Okay. I'm not a full on skeptic because I've had my experiences and I get it. But look, I've got a mind too. I've got my own common sense. And
Right.
that's really what it boils down to: using your own way of thinking, using your own thought process. And look, everybody has their own belief system. I've got my belief system, you've got yours, Betty. But to try to push that belief system onto somebody else is a little, that's kind of going overboard a little bit, I think.
And that's the key right there too. That right, what you just saying, that we all got our belief systems, and then you get these people that push their narrative to the point to where either you join in with them or you become outcast, or someone to be the target of of some type of negativity, just to get their narrative across to someone that's going in a direction of trying to learn, instead of being pushed into, this is what you're supposed to learn. And I know this, what I mean? It feels like some of these people even try to put me in that little box like that, either go along with what's being said, or, then you're the antichrist or something. It gets serious,
Now,
and it's
are,
stressful.
are you referencing like everybody involved in that make these claims, or are you like, is there like a percentage of these folks, do you feel, that maybe they're copycats and some are genuine? Or I mean, how does that work in your mind, Benny?
I do see that a lot of them, it's the bandwagon and the copycats, and the word that we've learned from countless ones that you've come across because of me, and I'm so sorry. But that like-minded people, that a lot of them, they jump on that bandwagon, and then they want to they want to be the conductor after that. They first had a ride, now they want to drive. I'm like, it gets
Well,
to an excessive point.
here's the problem with the like-minded mentality. If you want to have like-minded people, then find yourself a little cause and get these group of people and enjoy your cause. But
Right.
don't come here and tell me that you are a truth seeker, but yet you want like-minded people in your group, because you're not going to get to the truth, because you're bringing the same concepts to the table and you're not open to other possibilities. That's not a
That's
truth
what we
seeker. That's not someone that uses critical thinking.
Yes.
You've got to bring different ideas and different thought processes, and a
Yeah.
lot of times different cultures, because the culture that I'm used to may look at things one way, and there's another culture that looks at it another way, that I go, wow, look at that, I didn't think of it that way. So it's always good to bring that versatility to the table. So if
Yeah.
you're one of those people that says, hey, I just want like-minded people, yeah, you may not want to be using or throwing around the term truth seeker too much, because you're not going to get too much truth.
Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? You
Yeah.
know. I think back on just some of our beginning conversations that we had where, and I understand that you knew about me being a person that's just seeking knowledge, which is chasing that light that I try to do. And, just the weighing of our conversations from then to now to where we understand each's perspective of it. And we still each have our own perspective of pretty much all of these topics. But then when our perspective isn't exactly the same, but then when we see other people where there's problems and issues and where they're taking things too far, and there was a main question I asked you, earlier, do you think that some of these things are dangerous when these people get excessive with these claims and leading people astray? And I'll answer for you if you don't want to. You said,
I'm not afraid to answer any questions. That's for sure. And I can answer it. And yeah,
please.
absolutely, it's dangerous. It's 100% dangerous. If they don't use that information in what I call misinformation, that's a very good way to put it. If you
Mhm.
misuse it and you're not careful with it, you can cause some damage. You can cause harm.
Yeah, yeah. I remember one of the main staples of like the truth and lies when we first were speaking was about mainly the physical things that people ignore because of being led astray by I mean, we'll call it as it is, since this is going to be some go to witches and some go to some of these Reiki healers and all these different things when they really haven't investigated if some of these, if their test subjects work. Did the love spell cause some love to happen? Some of them, it don't even happen in their own lives. But,
Well,
or did the healing spell? Yeah.
Well, we'll be breaking down a lot of that in the upcoming episodes too. We're going to go through this stuff more in depth, Benny.
Yeah.
I mean, and we have a lot of that going on. We've got it going on in the paranormal field. I just took a case not too long ago, and we're still ongoing with it currently right now, where they had a team go in there and investigated this thing 4 different times, their house. And by the time they were done, they had a vortex in the yard, they had a demon on the property, and they had a skinwalker that was, badgering them. And
Man.
I'm like, this is pretty outlandish. I mean, all three of
Wow.
these things on one property. It's now, and this is coming from a person claiming to be a psychic medium. It's coming from a person claiming to be a Reiki healer. My mistake. Let me correct that. A Reiki master, and it's phenomenal what you hear. But
Right.
that's what these episodes are about. That's what the show is about, to bring these stuff, this stuff to light, to bring these topics forward, discuss these topics, explain what, a lot of the claims are that's being made, and then giving a 360 view on the topic to show exactly what things could be attributed to the things that they're claiming. And then we'll go through, paranormal stuff. We'll talk about cryptids, and we'll talk about all kinds of neat stuff. But on the first episode, we're going to get the monstrosity out of the way, and that's what we're going to unfold first. And that's where we come with the true reality of an awakening, what that really means in depth and in detail. So that's what this is going to be coming about on Monday.
Yeah, I think it's going to be awesome because you and I ourselves, we're non-scripted, and our conversations are on the subjects that we talk about, and me myself being like most of those people that are really looking for knowledge out there. That's why it's interesting me talking to Eldon on a daily basis. We are always on some higher knowledge or some in-depth investigation type conversation, and that's what I chose to be. My life was a part of. So I'm really glad that this is going for. I can go back and watch some more episodes. Even myself, y'all know I like to hear myself talk. So,
Well,
but anyway,
Benny, we talked about this even last night with our good brother Matt Turner, with Matrix Minds. You know,
God,
uh,
that's such an
you know,
awesome.
folks are they're kind of tired of hearing the stories. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's time to put the stories away. It's time to just get done with it. Let's get complete with that introduction of it. And how
right.
about we just start showing folks the proof of this stuff? Can we just do that? What do you think, Benny? I think we need to start showing the proof on here. And look, if anybody agrees, leave a comment. If you want to see the proof and you're tired of hearing the stories, let us know. Because I know I'm quite tired of hearing the stories. I want to start seeing the proof. I want to start showing that proof. You see, and
And you
that's
know what? And that's what I respect about you. And from the friends that Matrix Minds and all over that do, even the people that don't like you, respect that you search for truth, not just ghost chasing. You paranormal investigator, and that pretty much even from not even the paranormal, from entering into my little crazy world of the different people I deal with, being admins to all these different type of groups, that
right.
the fanatical people, and seeing all of this, that it's a definite plus that some of us that are really what I'm saying, got some common sense, have something that we can look at, like this show, the next shows, and whatever else, the stuff that you guys got coming. It's not no fake BS that you're seeing all across the TV and on your Facebook reels and all these super AI stories that they've conglomerated with no proof to them. It's just imagined pictures. But then
Right.
when you see something like what we seen last night, even with the conversation with our brother, that you instructed him how to be able to touch that other side. I'm touched. I'm
Yeah. And
touched.
well, when you can give a theory on something and
Yeah,
that theory is executed, you can back this up with a scientific explanation and then put it into practice and duplicate it, and then you get positive results. Well, this is pretty good proof to me, and that's
that's
exactly
real.
what happened last night. And that's going to be up to Mr. Matt whether he wants to show his viewers what he's finding out. But I know that we're going to be showing this kind of stuff on this particular show. I know that because
Right.
it's time that like a comment there says, "Yep," and I'm going to bring this up because this is very important. These people need absolute truth right now more than anything, 100%, and that's absolutely without a doubt correct. And it's time
Right
that
on
they
the
get it's time that they get the truth and know what's going on, because the true awakening is getting past the illusions. And I think there's a lot of illusions out there. We're getting drowned out by that, and it's getting us off base of where we need to be. So we need to weed through all of that and get through the mess, and run off all the powers that be, man, and just use our own critical thinking.
That's so important, man. And, that's it's awesome what you said, but me, the minister side comes out and it goes deep, because when people understand, when our collective consciousness comes together on the right plane, meaning being not directed from this negative or what you're supposed to learn, to the right, where we enter a higher plane of consciousness as a whole. It just takes so many. I'm not out here trying to look for no votes or nothing like that, but it's the truth, because it's the frequencies that we're giving off. It's that
Yeah,
positive energy,
yeah,
PMA, positive mental attitude.
yeah. Certainly, it's not about the votes, and unfortunately, I know that there's going to be some folks not happy with what we present and pull out, but you know what? That's okay. I don't really care. They can be upset. They can be mad. They can be whatever they want. But there's one thing you can't do is you can't get away from the proof. You can't get away from the facts of it. See, and
Right.
just facts alone will unfortunately for them, it'll expose things that are not true. And that's what we need to be doing, you know. So, and that's okay, you know, they can be upset, but we're going to do what we do, man. And I've been doing that from day one. You know that. I mean, and I'm not the kind of guy that kind of scares away from that, you know. I mean, I can tell you I've taken a hell of a beating over the last, what do you say, about 3 months, Benny? I've been taking
Yeah,
one hell of a beating.
you did. And what's amazing is that your search for truth, those people that were doing that beating, you don't hear from them too much no more. You
No,
know, I hope they get a chance to see the show to understand that, hey, we were just after truth, and you know, and what you're going to teach people to be in fact of what you know. And it done sent people hiding under bushes and trees, and you know, going into the different realms, and you know,
right,
channeling covers and stuff. I don't know what's going on no more, man. It's quiet on a lot of the groups ends now because you don't see a lot of that because the awareness is
right.
up, that you know, and thank God that you put that out there, brother. And I joined forces with that, and like our brother Matthew, to get these people to realize, hey, we got a new world out here for us to see and understand with these new technologies, but understand that what's real and what's not real, what's quantum entanglement, and what is that word, theoretical metaphysics, that's not even a real word. So don't get caught up in some of these things with,
Oh,
like, what's the best word you said, word salads, that a lot of people get you twisted into thinking that they're brilliant,
right,
but it's
right,
brilliant ignorance. It's
right.
ignorance.
Well, you know, this isn't going to be very long. I just wanted to come out here and, you know, kind of give an idea of where we're going with all of this. You know, it certainly isn't about picking on, you know, certain people with beliefs. It's not about that. It's what it's
Right.
about is bringing these claims to light and giving the 360 view on these topics to give you another perspective as to what it may be. At the end of the day, it's up to you on what you drive at. It's up to you on what you think. You know, you've got to make that decision for yourself. What we're going to do is we're going to give you other alternatives to what things could be, is kind of where we're
That's
going
cool.
with it. All right. I didn't want to make this too long tonight, Benny, but I did want to kind of let everybody know where we're going with this. We are, after this live right here, Benny, you and I, we are going to be recording that first episode, and it's going to release this coming Monday out on the Paranormal Family Channel. You can go on to the Roku's channel app. You can put in search engine Paranormal Family Channel, download it to your device, and you're off and running. So I think a couple people's already done this. I think Matt's done it. So you know, we'll be putting that out over there. So I look forward to it, and who knows, maybe we can have a little watch party behind the scenes there. Benny, what do you think?
Sound like a winner to me, man.
I know, right? Okay, man.
Winner,
That's pretty much about it, Benny. I just want to, you know, put a short out here, and so let's go ahead and wrap this up. I don't want to be too long with this tonight. We got work to do.
thank you to
So
YouTube and all the
you
others.
got any last words for anybody watching, Benny?
Well, I just last words is, man, you know, I thank all the different the avenues that we use, the StreamYards, YouTubes, and Facebooks, because this is going out to a lot of the Facebook groups out there live also. You know, I just want you guys to know that it's all in love and caring for mankind, not just one other person. That we're out to, you know, to put some band-aids over, you know, what's been trampled on is most of our hearts and our souls. So you can be realign with what you need to be going towards. God bless.
My last words is critical thinking, everybody. Critical thinking. Use your own mind. Use your own common sense. Just don't take everything you hear for face value. Look into it, dive into it, and do your research.
Do
So
your
that's
research.
about all I've got for you. And we'll see you Monday on the show when it broadcasts. So good night, Benny. We'll see you here in about 10 minutes, right?
All right, my brother.
All
I'll be
right.
here, Big E.
All right.
Peace
Take
and
care,
love,
everybody.
everybody.